Hi,
Yep.
you can see me now?
Yes, I can see your handsome face.
Yeah,
now.
hi.
Great.
Yeah, just actually I'm just after work, just rushed back home, left about 8 o'clock just now.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm actually doing night shift. Yeah.
okay. And if you don't mind sharing, which industry are you attached to, and what do you do at your place there, at your work?
I'm currently with IKEA. I'm doing logistics for IKEA.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Currently I'm one of the logistics manager in IKEA, IKEA Tabrau.
Okay. So I'm sure you have subordinates below you, and you're a manager.
Yeah.
And I think you have answered the question as it's a fact lah. People leave managers, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. You being a manager, okay, you have your managers. But as we move on, I think I would like to hear your experiences and everything as well. Okay.
All right, sure.
Okay. Right now, I think Izzati has something here to say before I need to ask you to do something. Sure, please go ahead, Izzati.
All right, hello everyone. I am Nurul from Sales and Marketing in Excel Academy. So I would like to thank everyone here for choosing Excel Academy for your training. Okay, right now, I would like to humbly request for all of you to kindly like our FB page. Wait there. I will present something.
Do you need me to stop presenting?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I will share my screen first.
Okay, sure.
All right. Okay. Can you just click at the QR code and you guys can kindly like and follow our Facebook page to keep up with our latest update on our courses and future courses.
I don't really have Facebook. Is there any other alternative channel?
Yeah, maybe you can go to our Instagram page. Do you have Instagram?
Yeah.
All right. You can just search for Excel Academy.
All right. Okay, sure.
Okay, great. Norine, Siti Norine, is she, are you a participant or are you from Excel itself? I believe you're a participant. I think you just joined, right? Hi, Norine.
Academy also.
Oh, you're from Excel Academy also.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's nice. All right. We have one more person now here, Shri Lat. Yeah, maybe you can introduce yourself. You may not need to on your camera if you don't wish to, but you can just introduce yourself because I would like this session to be more interactive both ways, as it's supposed to be more of a debate kind of thing, you know, whether it's this or that. So maybe Shri Lat, is it? Can go on.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Srila. I'm attached to this organization. I'm not a HR person, more of an operation person. I just like to join to have some inputs and takeaway.
All right, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, there was few others who actually got registered, but we don't see them yet on board. But anyway, maybe I can move ahead. I think.
All right. Okay. So without further ado, let's start with our session with Mr. Shoba, as she will be talking about people leave, manager not company. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have the slides back?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shoba and everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Tati. Izzati, I don't see the slides back, Izzati. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me just pull this up.
Shoba, is there anyone from IKEA actually registered besides me?
No, I think I only saw your name there. Were there
Okay.
supposed to be more?
No, I'm not sure. I'm just asking in case maybe someone forgot, so I could just give them a reminder.
Oh yeah, I think we are going live as well. I think they can just join. Maybe Izzati can arrange that if they want to join.
Yeah, but just
Live.
just wanted to know if there's anyone else registered.
No,
No.
I only saw your name there.
All right
Not
then.
anyone else.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have Colleen here now. Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Hello, hi Shoba. Good.
I'm
How are you
good.
doing?
Good. I'm good as well. Okay, Colleen, if you can just quickly introduce yourself to the rest, where you're from and what do you do and everything, then perhaps we can go ahead.
Hi, Colin here.
Uh-huh.
So basically, I'm working in under sales and marketing.
Okay.
Working under this Bintang Pro. So just came across this, and since during this lockdown period, nothing much to do. Probably just I can learn here.
All right. I do hope that you all will take back something from here. But as I said, today's session is going to be more interactive. That means I would expect participants to interact as well. Okay, on your experiences and everything. And interestingly, Colleen, you are the only one who registered. I saw your answer that people leave managers, not company, is a myth. So I would want to hear from you a little bit more later, whereas all the rest have actually said it's a fact. Okay, so let's have some constructive debate going on here later. Now, moving on, now we all know in the, how shall I say, in the current situation now, there is a skill shortage. Okay, there's a full swing of skill shortage. We see a lot of jobs being advertised on job boards. You know, it can be JobStreet, LinkedIn, and whatever. But yet, as many as there are people who are unemployed, you also see that many people, if you speak to HR managers or recruiters, they say, oh, we cannot find people. We are not finding the right skill set, right? And more important than that is businesses are not able to retain their highly specialized or top performing people, right? I'm sure you'll agree to that. So for many, it requires finding out why employees leave the company voluntarily. Okay, so voluntary employee turnover, it will always be there. It's not going to go off. It's something inevitable to a certain degree, right? So over the years, this popular expression of people leave managers and not company has come about, and it's like an easy way out for people to say, or HR to say that, and when someone leaves, oh, it is because of the manager. So today here, so what happens is the logic follows that if employees, okay, who are highly skilled and even the high performing ones voluntarily leave the company, the reason must be because of leadership or their immediate manager. But how much truth is there to this sentiment is questionable. Okay, so that's what we're going to be debating about today. And of course, managers who lead with fear and disrespect are no doubt liabilities to companies. And absolutely, they contribute to the voluntary turnover. But what we're going to look at is, are they really the primary cause for it? So before moving on to the actual topic this morning, let's analyze and take a little bit of deeper look at what are actually employees' motivators, or the wow factors employees actually look for or expect from their current employees or future employees. Now, we all, when we join an organization or when we are there, we have our expectations, and our expectations change over time. Okay, so I would like to hear from probably each and every one of you. What are your expectations at the point when you joined the workforce, and what your expectations are now? You know, what do you actually look for in an organization? Right. Maybe we can start with Colleen, interestingly, because Colleen said it was a myth. So let's start with Colleen and share your experience, Colleen.
All right, sure, Shoba.
Yep.
Basically, the expectation when I join a company, firstly, for me, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at career path for the company. So a career path that something that they can climb out the corporate ladders, something that they can go, something that they can move on to the managements and then higher level managements, and probably there's some partnerships that they can look into. That will be the at the later stage. So this will be the expectations that I'm looking at for the companies.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. And what about Andres?
All right. For me, I think the expectation is more of improving the capability, knowledge, and also motivation of a person. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, and Nazuria? You see, we have Nazuria here now. What are your expectations of an employer? Are you there, Nazuria? Okay, I don't see Nazuria there. All right, moving on. Let's just move on. Okay, so if you can see here, all right, people understand what people need. Okay, that's what Deng has said. Thank you for your thought. Now, if you can look here, now this is fresh from the oven, all right? This data is fresh from the oven. Now, if you can see here, this is an annual Randstad employer brand research, which was done in Malaysia, and this was released about 2 days ago. And the top employee, EVP, or you say employee value factors that actually influence employees and job seekers in their search for a new career. And you can see the percentage there. So, so what you can see is, so the research was actually commissioned by Randstad, okay? And I'm sure you all know what Randstad is. It's a leading HR solutions agency. And it was independently conducted by Kantar TNS. It was done via a 16-minute online survey with about 2,500 over respondents, okay? So, as you can see, what are the top 5 EVPs of how the Malaysian respondents see what they look for in an ideal employer come 2021. All right. So the first thing is you can see is job salary and benefits. Now the issue of unmatched salary expectation. Now that's not something new, but yet it's something it's a very complex thing to resolve. Right. So there are many factors that come into play when it comes to salary calculation. It has such a salary legacy in an organization, cost of the rising standard of living, mismatch in skills and experiences. This often happens in organization. Gender disparity. Okay, sometimes different gender, you have different scales of salary and more. Now, this was actually quoted by the Randstad of Malaysia's head. So what employers need to do here is to conduct regular audits, and ensure salary equity and competitiveness, okay, to find out their investment in skills development of their workforce, is adequate enough actually whether to retain their high performing talent. So that's one of the motivators, the main motivating factor. So as you can see that whether that actually directly is impacted by the manager or indirectly impacted by the manager is something we're going to be looking on. So they also said that in the current situation, what job seekers are increasingly looking for are employers to actually to tide them through the COVID-19 pandemic. particularly to protect their income and ensure job stability. So that's something else which they are looking for. Now, a strong management has a critical role to play here in ensuring good corporate financial performance, to ensure that they have a safe working environment to keep the employees safe. So this means that they actually need to take quick actions to identify what's needed in the organization. So on the other hand, if you can see, the survey also revealed that 73% of female respondents value work-life balance in their search for an ideal employer. Okay, so this is in comparison, 65% of male respondents who see work-life balance as an important EVP factor. So women are more attracted, generally, women are more attracted to the softer EVP factors, ranking from COVID-19 safe work environment to pleasant work atmosphere, location, possibility to work remotely, higher than men. So these are motivated. Like even for me, if I were to take myself for an example, when I started off career, at that time, maybe salary was the biggest thing. That was a motivating factor. Of course, the other factors, then the promotion and learning and development and everything came about. But as I moved on, when started having family and everything, that was not so important. Maybe it was more of how much of annual leave I have, how much of flexibility I have, in order to manage my family there. So motivation changed. So anyway, I think you all have seen that figures there already. So let's move on. That's just to give you a rough idea of what are the motivating factors and what are the job seekers actually looking for. So those who are in HR or even managers who are looking to recruit new people, so perhaps this would be an indicator of what your future workforce is looking for in you or your organization. So having said that, let's talk about employee engagement or, job satisfaction, whether job satisfaction and employee satisfaction is the same or not. Now, I would like to hear your views on whether you're satisfied with your job or do you feel that you're engaged well enough with your job or not. Yes, maybe we can hear from Colleen. How do you see employee engagement and employee satisfaction in your view?
You mean me as an employee or?
Of course, you as an employee. You as an employee, and how do you see? Do you have subordinates below you?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you see them? Whether are they merely just satisfied with their job, or do you see them engaged with their job?
Well, it's pretty much subjective, different kind of view. But I could see that majority of them are. I can see that they are can see their satisfaction on it. Can see that these people say they are working quite tough of it on it, and especially during this period of time. Sometimes they how should I put it in words? Employee tends to work even after working hours. So which pretty surprising though, especially during this current lockdown period, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah. If you talk about satisfactions, it depends on what's the it still comes back like the survey here, like how attractive it's the package is awarded to the persons, and if they are able to get a work-life balance and so on and so forth. Because for us, we even though we have the how to say the with your approval to work in a company, we do provide this if employee need to work from home and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Flexibility. So I guess that's one of the reasons. There's some things that we can see that give and takes from the employee.
Okay.
And the companies. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Colleen. Okay. What I was trying to actually, Colleen gave very good input just now, on his perception of that. So what I was actually trying to say was, now, if you look here at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm sure you all know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how it's actually applied to the employee engagement. Okay. At the very basic level, this is when they will actually start off your career. What people are looking for is survival. So at this point of time, you don't normally see an employee to be very engaged, right? So satisfaction and engagement are two different things, though they seem to be very similar, but there's a fine line of difference there, right? So that is why those days, not those days, in recent days, employee satisfaction surveys have changed to employee engagement surveys. Okay, for an example, you can see that okay, a staff, okay, probably let's name him Ali. Now Ali comes to work 9 o'clock and he clocks off at 5 o'clock. He takes his lunch break correctly. He does a decent job, completes his job. He gets paid well. He gets good packages and perks fairly well. He's satisfied. Okay, now he's satisfied. But what happens is employees who are satisfied may not necessarily be engaged employees. Okay, let's take for an instance, let's consider, say, Amanda. All right, now Amanda is maybe a software developer at a startup. Okay, the company is at early stages of growth, and Amanda has offered, she was offered equity benefits, all right, which is fluctuating instead of the standard compensation. Right. She often spends like many hours at work trying to meet deadlines, trying to get the product off the ground and everything. She's passionate. She's very passionate about her work, and she continuously tries new things in her domain, which makes her to be a very highly skilled professional. Right. So now Amanda seems to be like she's a very highly engaged employee here, even though some of the traditional satisfaction components are missing. She's okay because she wants to prove herself, right? So what I'm trying to say here is everybody's motivating factors or demotivating detractors are different. Okay, so if you look at it from survival, it goes to security, it goes to belonging, it goes to acceptance and self-actualization. So where do you get your staff to be engaged? What's important is the management or managers. You have the ability. I always say managers have the ability to make or break an employee. Okay, now a person may start at a survival mode where he's below, not engaged in everything, but it is for you to actually identify these people and bring them to the engagement level. Create the value in the job for them. They need to know that they are part of a bigger picture rather than just coming a 9 to 5 job. Okay, so I hope I'm making sense here, and I would like to hear maybe Colleen's view on, you'll be looking at the Maslow's hierarchy here, and maybe we can hear Colleen's view here on this. What do you think? Hi, Colleen.
Yeah, Shoba.
Yeah. So how do you see the Maslow's, or how do you see yourself in terms of the Maslow's hierarchy here? Do you think you have moved up, or where do you think you are now?
Where am I now? Oh, it's pretty tough one.
Okay.
Pretty. So I could see myself as pretty much engaged over here at the company now. And
the company, all right.
Things have been pretty fine. Okay, and well, how can I say?
Something very difficult to answer, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
something is very difficult to answer over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Something else. You do have some. I do have some achievements over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Things. You're talking about stress level. Yes, definitely there will be stress level. Well, if you're important to go to work, definitely it's important to go to work. Else we'll be sitting at home doing nothing.
Correct. So again, okay, thanks, Colin. So again, you see, it boils down to an individual's needs at that point of time, all right? And what you actually want in life, right? So that is why what I say, what we are trying to discuss today, whether it is a fact or myth, as much as okay, anyway, just to give a little bit of an overview of what's job satisfaction and employee engagement like. So you see, what I was trying to say was a satisfied employee may not necessarily be an engaged employee. Okay, so it's important for the organization to look into employee engagement strategies, because every employee and every organization is unique. You have your own set of culture and values and compensation strategies, your rules and everything. So this is unique, and it is important to look at all this in a very holistic manner in order to retain your top talents. Okay, now we're not talking about the talents which you don't need in a company, doesn't matter. But in order to retain top talents, the question is when, as I mentioned earlier, more often than not, you always have top talents leaving your company. And this is actually very damaging to the bottom line of the company, right? Productivity is affected, recruitment and retraining costs a lot for an organization. So this is always in a dilemma where organizations are in. So we are doing this, we are doing that, and yet we can't retain this person. As I said, even the topmost companies, you know, if you go to Google or Microsoft, there are also people leaving. They're supposed to be the best and they give everything, and yet people leave. So why? Again, the question of why. Is it because of the managers or is it because of something else? Okay, so let's move on. Right, now this is another interesting numbers which I would want you to have a look. Okay, so what drives employee engagement? Now this was findings by Qualtrics 2020 on the employee experience. Okay, what drives? So the top drivers, okay, recognition for good work. Now this was a survey done in Malaysia itself, back in our home. And what people want is 62% said they want recognition for good work. And where does this recognition come from? Recognition, when they say, be praises. You know, we are in a culture, I guess it's the way we have been brought up. Even with our parents, it will be like, you know, when you do good, very seldom parents will say, you know, hey, you're good and this and that and everything. But when you do bad, you know, they start scolding you and all these things. So I guess it's also in our culture. This culture needs to change. I personally have found bosses who have, like, you know, it would be so difficult for them to give open praises. And I always advocate that, you know, when you are reprimanding, that needs to be done in private, but praises need to be done in public. And this is where I think a lot of leaders or managers tend to be lacking here. So 62% said that, and 62% also said that there is a clear link between the work and company strategic objective. Remember what I said? The big picture. How do I actually fit into the big picture? This is where you have your KPIs and your KRAs and everything, which trickles down from your company strategic objectives. So even the most junior staff need to know how he or she is contributing to the big picture in order to feel engaged, right? Of course, opportunities for learning and development, as what Colleen was mentioning just now. As you move further, you want opportunities. You may be given all the best perks and you're satisfied with everything. But if you do not have an opportunity to learn and develop yourself, again, your job becomes monotonous. There is no challenge in your job there. All right. And you can see 59% said, this is 59%. My managers help me in my career development. So that's almost more than half who have said that the manager factor is equally important there, how the managers play. Confidence in senior leadership to make the right decisions for the company. So if you look at all the 5 responses there. Okay, directly or indirectly, it does involve managers, right? So when that is not done, you can see a certain level of dissatisfaction, right? And you can see here, why do actually people quit, right? For those who have been in the, maybe we can hear from Lata. From Lata's experience, why do you think actually high performance quit? What are the reasons contributing for quitting?
Hi.
Hi, Lata.
I truly feel it's because of the environment. And I always believe people don't leave because of work. People leave because of people.
Okay.
Even how high performing are you, how satisfying your job is, when you're not being treated rightly, I think that's very demoralizing.
Okay. Thanks, Lata. Okay. I think Lata made a very good point there. Treating people with respect is actually very, very important. Okay. So as you can see here, the 5 competencies of what a manager should have. Now, can you see the biggest sphere there of what a manager should have is about managing people, right? And then you come about managing your financial resources, your projects, and blah, 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 and everything. And then, of course, you got to manage yourself, because if you don't know how to manage yourself, you can manage the rest. So the people factor is the biggest factor here. Now, we have seen leaders who may not come from the industry. Let's take, I always like to use this example, our Mr. Fernandez from Air Asia. Now, you all will know that he actually did not come from an aviation industry, right? And he made it in the industry. Of course, now it's because of the pandemic and everything, so they are laying low a little. But if you actually look into how he came about and how he made it in the industry, he was not a person from the aviation industry. And until today, I say this in all my sessions when I talk about communication and managerial leadership things and everything. I'm yet to come across any comments from Glassdoor review or even people whom I know who have been working there to say anything bad about the leadership there. Okay. The other example is probably the Google CEO. From what I used to read on articles and everything, he is not a very techy person, being a Google CEO, but he's a people's person. Can you see? So being a manager is about managing people. So if you don't get that, like what Lata said just now, if you do not treat people with respect, give them the due recognition, give them the due autonomy, don't micromanage, especially when they are high-performing people. If you're micromanaging them, then it becomes very awkward for the employee to actually stay on. The person feels not being trusted. In this kind of scenario, in a pandemic where everybody is working from home, trust become an issue. Communication is actually very, very important at this point of time. Okay, so let's move on. So can you see the people-focused responsibility that actually managers need to perform? Okay, you need to manage, you need to communicate, you need to delegate, you need to motivate, and you are also the enforcers of company policies. You train, you evaluate. Okay, feedback sessions are actually very, very important. I always tell managers, middle managers, line managers, how you give your feedback session to your employees are actually very important. I always talk about the sandwich technique. If you have an employee who is not, to say, performing up to your mark, but there is room for improvement. When I say sandwich technique, is about giving the praise and then giving your critics and then praising back. So that's the sandwich technique. You make the person feel good when you're starting to talk. Then you talk about the issue and then you make the person feel good again. So that's how you actually communicate with your employees. That will make them feel better rather than directly going into, I know annual appraisals are one time where all of us drink. be it the managers, be it the employees. You dread annual appraisals because we are not trained to give feedback. The way we give feedback is not constructive. It becomes dismissive to the person who wants to actually listen to that, right? So anyway, now you can see the operational aspects and the leadership roles which actually managers need to take on. Moving on. Now, if you can see, I always say this. Now, if you're a good manager, you will never want to put something in writing. Can you say that? Now, I've seen managers where, again, this boils down to communication, okay, who are not willing to talk. You're not willing to tell the employee, your staff, something is wrong. But instead, you quickly put it in writing. So-called you want, we have this mentality of wanting to put everything in black and white. So we forget about having colors around the office space. Yes, I do agree. There are things that you need to put in black and white, but communication is always good. Now, I would like to hear from you all now that we are all, like, I think back there, you all are still working from home and everything. How do you actually communicate with your subordinates, your downliners, that now that you're working from home and everything? How do you keep up your communication there? What are the things which you do? Maybe we can hear from Andres. I'm not sure if Andres, you're working from home. You did say you're coming back from office, but do you all have a work from home policy?
From my department, because I'm in logistics, so we do not work from home.
Okay.
So there's a lot of physical activity involves in operations. Yeah, but what was your question just now again?
No, I was just asking, how do you have your one-to-one communication with your employees?
Okay, yeah, we do have. First is that daily we do have daily briefings with the team, right?
Okay.
So this is basically to update on the daily's activities and if there's any urgent updates and also reminders. Yeah, but then for one-to-one employees, right? Of course, we have our yearly appraisal, right, which we have at the end of the year. But then what we practice is also a monthly one-on-one with the co-workers. Yeah, this is to share, opportunities and also development feedbacks to the employees, right? And this is also a good thing so that we do not, like, at the end of the year when there is appraisal, we tell the employees you're not performing or you're not this, that. This is quite shocking, right? So we use the monthly approach to steer them, right, to where we want them to go on. Yeah, so that's how we do it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Colleen. Sorry, Andres. And what about Colleen? How do you do that? Now that I think just now you mentioned you all do have work from home thing. How do you manage to actually communicate with your staff? How do you manage to engage with your staff when you're not physically present now?
Yeah, Shoba. So we have a few ways that we engage. Well, first thing first, we every week we will have a meeting to gather everyone. Okay, so there'll be a weekly meeting carry on every day after everyone complete their tasks and so on, and also to brief a little bit on what's going to be done on the next coming week. Okay, and also we do have some small groups, those kind of Zoom or any kind of online Microsoft Teams that we can use, okay, to communicate to each other. And like the email communications, if that's not, it doesn't require that anyone, we can just send it on. So these are all the tools that we can use online, as compared to even the most conventional way. There's a phone call. It's just it's very near way that we can just dial the number and then just tell any of the colleagues there's anything needed to be done. So as one is mature enough to get to put in efforts on the job, it shouldn't be a big problem here.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Excellent. Okay, I like the part where Colleen said we are just a phone call away. Some bosses or some managers have this thing that I will not call you. Everything is via email. I don't want to talk. So this is the biggest problem, I think, that the most biggest problem which is faced by managers who do not take on leadership roles. You see, not all managers, that's also another term which we always hear, not all managers are leaders, you know. So leadership is different, being manager is different. Being leaders, you create followers. Being managers, you just manage the job, right? So let's just move on and have a look here. Now, this is which was quoted, you see. This is what I was talking about, the one-on-one session. Can you see? A 90-minute of your time with your employee enhances the quality of your subordinates' work. So it is very, very important to have your one-on-one. One-on-one may not necessarily be just on work matters. It can be also on anything, right? So Deng has a question here. Okay, now Deng says, what if manager not supportive? Is it possible for you to unmute yourself and talk a little bit about this, Deng, so that I can understand what your issues are a little bit more? And perhaps our people, okay, it says I use PC. Now, I'm just trying to assume here, okay, when you say what if manager is not supportive, is this only at one place? How have you been working and everything? Now, if your manager is not supportive, okay, it's good to have an intermediary. So this intermediary could be another manager, okay, who has influence on this manager, whom you are close to, who sees your issue. Of course, not everything you would go to HR. Sometimes you may feel, oh, my HR is too busy for all these things, you know. Use another person who is equally close. Okay, she looks down on us and we feel demotivated. All right, I got that. All right, okay. So this looks like a person, a manager maybe who feels like I know it all person, okay? So as I said, use another form of communication, may not be direct communication, because approaching this kind of managers directly may be controversial. It may lead to controversy because you see, there's always like, I don't know if have you all heard, like, you know, women are from Mars and men are from Venus and this kind of thing. So similarly, managers and employees are also like that sometimes. You are a world apart and you see things in different perspective. You don't see things on the same page. So it's a bit challenging for you to come together and see on the same page. So when you have a person like that, you need to have someone in between to actually bring together and make two parties to see each other's perspective. Now, you must understand also here, Deng, probably what you can do is have another person sit together, or maybe in separate sessions or whatever. And you need to also, as employees, you also need to understand, why is your boss looking down on you? What is the reason? Are you not performing up to her or his expectation? What are his and her expectation? Now, these are things underlying things you've got to analyze a little bit more. Okay, I hope I've answered that. Okay, let's move on a little here. Now, I'm sure you all have heard about what the VUCA is all about. Okay, this was an acronym termed by the US Army War College to describe environment as volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Now, what you need not to be as a leader or as a manager, don't be a VUCA leader. And you can see that, you know, don't be so volatile, don't be uncertain, don't be complex, you know, don't make, I always tell HRs and managers, don't make rigid kind of policies at your workplace, you know, be flexible, give people the flexibility, but be cautious. You know, at the same time, of course, I'm not saying you should compromise on values and ethics of your organization, but you need to strike a balance there. And what that actually translates, when you don't be a VUCA leader, but leading through VUCA, what translates is be direct, be understanding, be reliable, and be trustworthy. So when a manager is all of this, right, does it still guarantee that an employee will not leave? Okay, I suppose I would say yes. You can give the world to an employee, but an employee would still leave. You can be the best manager, but people leave for different reasons. Again, it goes back to the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy. Where are you? What is your need? You know, I can have an excellent manager, okay? But my salary doesn't pay well. The organization salary structure is just there. It's stuck. It doesn't move. You know, there is no, I don't see where I fit myself into the organization, but my manager is excellent. Do I still want to stay? I may stay if my financials are not questionable. It's like, okay, I can manage, I can stay with the salary. But when it comes to questioning, you know, I have other commitments. Yes, I have a very good manager, but I still want to move because another company is offering me higher, which at that point of time is suiting my needs. So I would still need. Now, what can the manager do? When I'm talking manager here, I'm not talking about the board or senior management. That's a separate entity on its own. The manager means your direct manager. You know, in this case, where policies are involved, the manager's hands are tied. They can't do much, right? So do I need to still stay on? I can't. So again, so having said that, okay, we've got about 10 minutes there. Having said that, there are many reasons for people to leave. Personally, I have left, and I think we all would have gone through. I have left because of managers, and I've also left because of other reasons. Okay, so it really boils down to what like, you know, this term of, you know, that people leave managers was something actually coined by an author of the book. So, and this was used repeatedly, like by research companies like Gallup and everything. Now, of course, Gallup, if you think logically, they are a management company trying to sell their management training programs and everything. So it is like, you know, if you have a hammer and you keep nailing it every time, it looks like, yes, to treat everything as though it was a nail. You know, you have a hammer and you got to treat it with a nail only. It looks like that. But on the other hand, if you look at what the Culture Amp employee says, they also examined things from the other perspective. And what they said was, yes, people leave bad managers, but it is then again not the number one reason for people to leave a company, right? And in good companies, yes, managers make a difference, right? But in bad companies, good or bad managers make little to no difference to a person's decisions to leave. Okay, so that was the results given by a survey done by Culture Amp. So again, you see, as I said before, understanding what drives an employee's turnover for your organization is important. So this is where exit interviews become very important, okay, to understand why your staff are leaving. Transparency in in actually conducting this interviews are very important. These exit interview figures need to be translated into data, not just simply a piece of paper which you need to just file into the personal file. No, it should not work that way, because if you do that, you will never know the underlying cost of the company, right? Of course, a lot of evidence do show that managers play a big part in performing staff leaving an organization, because as you saw it just now, people management is a big part of what managers do. But then again, as I said, I would like to conclude that that alone may not be a reason. You need to go back and look back into your data and what drives your company and your employees. Every employee is an individual. And I always stress to HR that when you one size does not fit all. I also always stress to HR people and everything, when you're having leadership programs. Leadership programs is not something where you send your manager for 1 or 2 days and that's done. It doesn't work. It needs to be continuous, a learning and development program to train your managers. Okay, so this is where when I conduct my classes for HR, for non-HR managers, it's important for non-HR managers to also put on your cap as a HR, because you are the person directly dealing with your employees. It's important that you deal with them with empathy, trust, and respect. Okay, apart from the job satisfaction, of course, your perks and benefits and salary, those are the parts which gives satisfaction to a job. But engagement comes from how your organization takes on engagement strategies. So these are things which you need to actually look into further, an organization. And this should not be just totally the senior management or the HR people to actually look into this. Being managers, being line managers, immediate supervisors or middle managers, you need to actually bring on this, because when your staff leaves, it impacts your performance as well. Okay, so with that, I would like to say that it's neither a fact nor a myth. Okay, it is a fact, but at the same time, it's not all of it also. Okay, and probably before we go off, I would like to hear your thoughts about this whole thing. And maybe we can start with Colleen itself.
Well, I believe Shoba have covered quite a lot of things on this, the myth and the fact. So, well, my point of view is if it's not necessarily the managers is the one that employees leave, because if the company is unable to provide the redemptions to the staff and so on, even if you have the best managers there to support you and to guide you and anything, you still have other commitments that you need to work on. So yeah, that's the reason why I put it on me.
Yes, thank you, colleague. Andres, can we hear something from you before we go?
Yeah, Shoba, I think I can totally agree with what you have shared, especially on the part on employee engagement and employee satisfaction. Yeah, because I think I'm very sure that employee engagement, it's definitely a good engagement for new people who join the company, because they feel it's a new area where they can improve. But then along the way, right, after maybe 5 or 10 years working the same organization, the satisfaction may not be the same. People tend to climb up the ladder. They want to have promotions. They want to have better salaries. So that's where the satisfaction may improve or may change. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you. And okay, Dan is using, and maybe Lata, we can hear something from you before we go off.
Yes, Shoba. Initially, my reply to the question why registering was fact, but I think you have a reasons why you should be might as well. But I think one of the screen the presentation which you shared, which is the top 5 reasoning of expectations of the employees by right. So that is very informative. I just hope that most employers work towards that, because that is what the new norm is.
Yeah. Thank you, Lata.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. Well said. So again, things need to be arrested. I always say it's good to look at strategies from the beginning. So this is where recruitment strategies become very important. You need to hire the right talent. Okay? You need to hire your right talent. You need to hire the right managers. So if you start doing that from the beginning, okay, and you start mapping your employee engagement strategies. Employee engagement strategies actually starts from the day a candidate starts applying to your company. It is not even later part. It starts from the beginning. So this is very important to start it from the beginning and getting it right from the beginning and making continuous improvement to that. Okay. So having said that, I think it's good we should look different perspective in our job. Yes, Okay, I agree with what Deng says as well. Job enlargement and enhancement along the way as you progress in your career also is very important. Otherwise, you can be paid very well, but then your job becomes monotonous because every day you go back and you do the same thing. You know, so what's so interesting? So therefore, I want to look. So I had a colleague last time who was a consultant in Petronas and everything. And I said, Petronas pays so well. Why did you leave and come? Everything. He said, no, lah, after some time, I got bored over the job. I know everything already. You know? So that was then when the oil and gas industry was having its heydays at that time. So that's just an example. So I think with that, thank you very much for all your participation. And again, I would say that yes, as much as there are other reasons, personal reasons, why an employee may want to job hop, you know, or change their employment or anything. It could be for various reasons, looking at your hierarchy at that time, what you need at that time. But having said that, managers do actually also play a big role in an employee's career life cycle. The kind of bosses you have shapes you to a certain extent. I can clearly say that. You know, the kind of bosses I have had in the last 20 odd years had to a certain extent shaped how I am today, good and bad. You know, you take the good and you learn from the bad lessons. So I do hope I've covered today. And I will be having programs on HR for non-HR managers and as to how to actually counsel your staff, give appraisal feedback and everything. Please reach out to Excel Academy on more of those details and everything. So thank you everyone for participating today, and I hope to see you all soon again.